Hey guys, Dr. Corey here. How are you? Hey, how about some food for thought today? Welcome to your motivational mastery session. How about some food for thought on thoughts about food? Has this thought ever run across the marquee of your mind? I'm so sick of thinking about food. So you've decided to pursue your goal, right, of fat loss, better health, and now it feels like it's consuming you. It's the only thing that you think about, right? And you start to wonder whether that's even healthy. The fact that you've got these thoughts running rampant in your mind about food and meal planning and tracking and what you're going to eat for your next meal. Are you crazy? You're not necessarily going out of your mind. Okay, I'm going to put that out there right now. Research would say that too. You are not in fact crazy, that this makes sense. Because you're thinking about the very thing that you're focusing on, right? You know, I've often said that where our attention goes, energy flows. And if we want to look at that another way, what we focus on grows. We think about the things that are most meaningful to us, all right? Thoughts are funny though, in that the way that we think about things will dictate our experience. So for those of you who said you can relate to the thought, I'm sick of thinking about food, my question to you is, what is the feeling or that felt sense that accompanies that thought? Okay? Is it a sense of frustration? Is it a sense of like exasperation? Is it a sense of anxiety? Or is it like excitement? Or are you feeling this sense of drive to learn more when you're like, I'm sick of thinking about these thoughts? See, there's a different way that we can even say it, okay? So it's all about the way, the manner in which we're thinking. If I were to change the thought, as another example, to, wow, there is so much to learn about food and about metabolism and about dieting and fat loss, okay? Now what's the experience? Now what's the feeling that accompanies it? This is a different way of thinking, okay? This way is that it's infused with positivity and enthusiasm, okay? The person thinking in that way might have the same frequency of food thoughts and a similar intensity of food thoughts, but just by shifting the way, okay, in which the food thoughts are perceived, now the entire feeling surrounding the thought has shifted. This is clearly an important difference because what we're showing here is a variance in mindset, okay? The first thought, I am so sick of thinking about food, that embodies a mindset or an energy of fatigue, of disdain, almost resentment, okay? Like, why should I have to endure this? The second way, though, like, oh my gosh, there's so much to learn about food. That way embodies almost a sense of gratitude and appreciation and an attitude of curiosity, a mindset of curiosity. Okay, why does this matter? I think you guys are beginning to understand why this matters. Okay, let's look at what you tend to do and how you tend to behave when you feel frustrated and when you feel fatigued and when you feel like you have zero bandwidth for anything else but food, okay? I'd venture to guess that that way of thinking, accompanied with those feelings and energy, is the perfect setup for avoidance and for procrastination and for wanting to throw your hands up and give up or put it aside or avoid, right? Think about what this means for food logging if you engage in it with that mindset, all right? Forget it. The approach becomes one of negativity. Now, what happens if you approach food logging with a sense of like enthusiasm and energy and excitement? We become more resourceful in those situations. The more positive energy we feel, the more expansive we become, okay? The more bandwidth we have to be curious. So what happens is that we open up to our capacities and our resources rather than perceiving being like crushed under a really heavy load of just too muchness, all right? Now, there's a researcher named Barb Fredrickson. I've mentioned her before in some of my videos. She's a social psychologist out of UNC, all right? And she's shown this exact thing in her research. When we experience positive emotions, we are able to see the bigger picture. Bandwidth increases, all right? Our vision gets wider and broader. Now, guess how positive emotions are created? Well, by deliberately shifting our mindsets, our energy, our attitudes, deliberately shifting our perceptions, i.e. our thoughts, okay, what we think and how we think them. So thoughts, guys, are not inherently bad, and neither is the fact that, you know, they can come at us with like a lot of force, or that they can come at us with kind of this whispery way about them, okay? I bet that if you actually took some time to get acquainted with your mind, you would find that you think in categories too, okay? You have themes for your thoughts, and those categories would really relate to what's most prominent in regards to your goals and in regards to your responsibilities and the roles that you play in your life. It would be actually quite fascinating if you took the time to get to know your mind that way. Now, we think about what is most important to us. I mentioned that. And we think about what we deliberately focus on also. So thoughts can come at us just randomly, okay? But thoughts also come at us because we're focusing and targeting on something very specific. And we have thoughts because we're triggered by things that are occurring in the environment. We see a sign as we're driving down the road for KFC, and now we're having thoughts about chicken. Okay? Now, because we can't necessarily stop our thoughts, it's relevant to ask what we are purposefully paying attention to. And we can look at this in two different ways. Okay? A thought pops up and snags us, right? It grabs us and we notice it. What do we do? And the second way is that we have to ask what we want to have thoughts about. Okay? So what do we do? Let's look at an example. I have thoughts about food all day long. I'm not dieting. Okay? Do I track my food? Yes, I have since I was like 19, maybe earlier. But that's automatic now. Like, I just do it. I don't have to think about how to do it and what's in my food, okay? But I have thoughts about food all day long. Now, when I have a thought about food, do I get up and go get that food? Do I eat? No. If I ate every time I thought that I wanted to, or that I felt like it, or had an image of food, okay, I would weigh a lot more than would be comfortable for me, okay? Now keep in mind that a thought can pop up, like I said, in the form of a picture, okay? It doesn't have to be a string of words. It can be a picture. That's a thought too. It can be a voice that you hear, okay? Thoughts can come in many different ways, manners and concepts. But whatever is going on in your mind. And so what do I do when I notice that thought or an image? Right now I have an image of pita chips in my cupboard. What do? Well, I've learned how to relate to the thought differently, okay? What does that mean? I can look at it with an air sort of like nonchalantness. Did I just make up another word? I approach it with nonchalance. Oh, there it is again. I love pita chips. Of course, I think about pita chips they're in the cupboard. By the way, I didn't buy them. My boyfriend did. Remember, I don't go down the chip, cookie, cracker, crunchy aisle. Anyway, I don't look at a thought as a directive about telling me what I need to go do, okay? And here's the other thing you need to remember. The harder you try to get rid of a thought, the harder it's going to come back at you. It's called the ironic process theory. If I tell myself, don't think about pita chips, don't think about pita chips, don't think about pita chips, how am I going to not have pita chips in my mind? I'm repeating those words in my head. Okay. Now, I also recognize that I have thoughts about food so much because, 1, I have to eat to live. 2, I'm concerned about being healthy, so I make decisions about what to eat on a daily basis and multiple times throughout the day. And C, I coach people on nutrition. So I'm talking about and deliberately thinking about food all the time, all day long, okay? I choose to think, though, about it with a mindset of interest and of openness and of non-attachment. There's a distance between me and the food, okay? Let me put this into perspective again. If we let every thought that we have be a directive, telling us what to do, okay? If I did that, here's what my life would look like. If I ate every time I had a thought about food, I'd be significantly overweight. If I didn't work every time I thought I don't want to do this, okay, I'd never get anything done. If I didn't exercise every time I had a thought like, oh, I want to sleep longer, I wouldn't be fit and lean. If I said something snarky to my boyfriend every time I thought, you didn't take the trash out again, okay, our foundation would suffer little cracks. Communication would go down. If I didn't post a video for you guys on the majority of Mondays for your motivational mastery session because I thought, could do it later, guys, I wouldn't create the valuable content that you like so much. Well, I hope that you like it. So here's your practice for today, okay? I want you to assess how you respond to the thoughts that you notice. First, what thoughts are up there? And then second, how do you respond to those thoughts? Are you pretty reactive and impulsive about the thoughts? You see the thought, you see the image, and you just go for it? Or do you try to stop them? No, don't think about that. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Could you practice relating to the thoughts differently? Go forth and have an awesome week, guys.